Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we will be looking at how to do a simple and quick orange and teal photo edit in Lightroom. This whole process can be done in about 2 to 3 minutes and just requires you to be somewhat mindful of skin tones. Caucasian skin sits somewhere around the same range that will be influenced by pushing your reds and or yellows towards the orange hue, so it is important to not overdo it. It helps you either do not have a human face in your photo at all or can avoid seeing their face, as this is usually the most obvious giveaway that something is off with the colors. The first thing we're going to do is look at the settings this was shot at. 70mm, an aperture of f2.8, and a shutter speed of 1/500th and ISO 8000. It's worth pointing out here that we could have saved ourselves a lot of noise and gained better image quality by dropping the shutter speed to 1/100th and decreasing the ISO appropriately. Today we're in luck as this was shot on a full frame camera, which still produces good looking images at high ISOs, though there is no good reason to use settings like these, so pay attention to how you expose in the first place. That out of the way, let's crop the image. There's nothing of interest going on in the bottom section of this photo, so we don't mind chopping it off. We can use a 4:5 ratio, which will fit this portrait quite nicely. Next we will aim to get the general exposure right before we look at the colors. In this case, that involves some overall brightening, plus dropping of the shadows and heightening of the contrast levels to create more depth. We don't mind the blown out highlights in this photo very much, as we are not trying to preserve any kind of detail in the sky. The blown out sun adds quite nicely to the overall feeling of the photo. Next we will warm the shot by pushing the temperature balance towards the orange. As you can see, this is already having a huge effect on the image, as there are already a lot of blue and orange tones present in the shot in the first place. Before we dive into adjusting the colors each separately, we can do a global shift that will get us into the ballpark range of where we want the photo to end up. To do this, we will go down to the calibration tab at the very bottom and push the blue primary towards the left. This will push the image towards an orange, red, cyan color palette from which we can adjust our personal color preferences more easily. Now we have a good starting point to look at the colors in more detail. Let's go down to the HSL, Hue, Saturation, and Luminance tab. We can see where lighting and skin tones are crossing over first. We can see that the red and orange hues are both hitting skin and the sun. But that the yellow hue is only adjusting the sun. In this case, we will adjust both the red and orange to avoid the skin getting too bronze, and then use the yellow hue slider to push the sun back towards the oranges. The blue and aqua color ranges will influence the color of the subject's shirt as well as the road in the background in this case. I think that they look fine as they are right now. Luminance is next. We can make the shirt pop quite a bit by adding light to the blues. The same can be done to the oranges to really hype the two most relevant colors. To finish the colors, let's add some saturation to the orange and blue tones. For the last major step, let's create a mask on the subject so we can dodge the area. Just grab the adjustment brush at the top right, turn on auto mask, and color in the relevant areas. Stay inside the lines and make sure to not go over the edges as to avoid any spill. When we have the finished mask, boost the brightness on our subject and add some contrast to make him stand out more. During this step, we can also go take a look at the global sharpness adjustment and drop it down to 0. We do not need the background being sharpened, especially not in a photo shot at a higher ISO, where all this will do is enhance the grain. We can add back sharpness to the subject using the same mask we created to dodge the area, this time only targeting what is relevant once again. Now's a good time to have a look at some noise reduction. Look at a before after of the noise pattern of both the chroma and the luminance noise. Let's make some final adjustments. 1. Enhance the sun rays by dragging a graduated filter from top to bottom over the image with the dehaze slider pushed towards the left and the color temperature pushed towards the oranges. 2. Make some final exposure adjustments. 3. Double check the crop. 4. Rebalance the colors to taste once more. And 5. Potentially raise the blacks if you're into that. If you do like it, simply drop an anchor point on the tone curve in the center, pull up the level of the blacks, and drop the shadows and highlights, plus boost the mid-range. Otherwise, you can keep the photo as it was and make use of the high dynamic range the modern sensors have to offer us. And that's all there really is to it. Thanks for watching, and stay beautiful everyone.